Good morning, happy Tuesday, and happy All Saints Day to anyone who actually celebrates that. But yeah, as I call it, I really do feel that right now we are officially in the holiday season. I mean, technically, I wouldn't say we were in the holiday season when October started, but now is when things are going to be kicked off in a high year. In fact, before I get to my low, my high, my act of kindness, I actually have a bit of an anecdote with something I saw yesterday. So I'm scrolling around on the internet, and I see this one GIF it's not a GIF, but it's a meme of fairy godmother talking to Cinderella from the Disney movie. The original animated Disney movie, the good one. Anyway, so fairy godmother is talking to Cinderella, and she says, when the clock strikes midnight, Halloween will be over. And then you'll start hearing Christmas carols. That's it, you'll start hearing Christmas carols everywhere. You know what? That's not entirely inaccurate. Here's the thing. I have yet to hear Christmas carols myself. I'm not going to go actively. I know there are channels that on the radio where they have Christmas music playing all year round. Not that I actually seek them out. But when it comes to Christmas music for me, I'll start listening to it when I indirectly hear it. Meaning, like, if I'm shopping at like a grocery store or something and I hear, Christmas music being played on the radio, then I'm like, okay, I'll do my part and start listening to it. Although personally, for me, when it comes to the holiday season, the one thing I'm most looking forward to is which of my Mount Rushmore of Christmas specials and movies will I see first? Well, it's probably going to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation because between channels like AMC, Freeform, TCM, TNT, that movie's going to be played bare minimum a dozen times between now and when Christmas is over. I'm looking forward to when I first, when I watch it, just because, I love that movie. All right. If you're new to my work, then you should probably know I have a Mount Rushmore of Christmas specials and movies, and they consist of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, A Christmas Story, pretty much any iteration of A Christmas Carol. Although ones I gravitate towards most are The Muppets, the Scrooge McDuck one, George C. Scott, and I always forget. It's the black and white one, like from 1952. I forget which one that is, but yeah, that one. And the last one is actually a tie between How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original Chuck Jones animated one, the good one, by the way, not that Jim Carrey nonsense, and Charlie Brown Christmas. I put them both together because when you watch them individually, they're both very short, but if you watch them together, you get an hour special. So there you go. Now, let's get to my little highlights of kindness. Seriously, we're not even 7 hours into the month of November. It's actually just after 7:15 right now. We're not even 7 hours into the month of November, and already we're talking about Christmas. It begins. Okay. So I would say that my low is, looking back on it, maybe I probably could have come up with a costume if I really put some thought and effort into it. It's just like, again, the only reason why I never really do that is if I was going out on Halloween. And I mentioned this yesterday. I didn't really hear or see about anyone I know going out for Halloween. So there you go. I mean, next year I hope to be a little more, for lack of a better word, gung-ho when it comes to wearing a costume for Halloween. So I'll know for next year. My high is the fact that, I got to, actually my high and my act of kindness are both intertwined. I got to give candy to trick-or-treaters at my folks' place on Halloween. It was a lot of fun. Seeing the kids dress up in costumes and everything. Wishing them all a happy Halloween. Some kids don't really know, are too young to really speak, or too afraid to speak, so they don't really say trick-or-treat, but that's okay. They get candy. Because I'm nice like that. Seriously, like, the cruelest thing you can do on Halloween is not give a kid candy. That's just plain cruel. And yes, if you're one of those weird people that gives them like money or like, okay, here's the thing. I know some people give apples on Halloween, which if it's just plain apples, you're evil. Now, if the apples are covered in like a candy coating or perhaps caramel, that is fine. So, yeah, if it's a candy or caramel apple, that's okay. Caramel apples. Oh. Okay. Okay. We got to see, little kids dressed up in costumes. It was a lot of fun. Watched a little bit of The Voice last night with my folks and got to spend time with them. It was good. And I ended the evening doing, I think a new tradition I'll do from now on is, I think next year I'm going to try and come up with a playlist for what I want to listen to on Halloween. But I would end it with listening to the Monster Mash. Because it's called the Mash. It's just the Monster Mash. Okay, so I already said before, but happy All Saints to everyone. Happy Tuesday. We're in the month of November. The year is coming to a close. And I really can think of nothing more interesting to talk about other than this week's guest on Hot Ones. Because, full disclosure, I know who this guest is, but my first sort of introduction to her has nothing to do with anything she specifically has done. In fact, the first time I ever saw this guest was in a collaboration video with someone else I watched. If any of you watch, if any of you guys remember the early days of Bon Appetit, because listen, I'm a fan of food. Of course I watch Bon Appetit. And yeah, I know they went through some controversy in recent years, but that's okay. I still love those people. They got some good people who work there. Well, I'm looking at you, Brad Leone, and everybody else. So anyway, so back before the pandemic, really, there was a person who used to work on Bon Appetit called Claire Saffitz. She's not this week's Hot Ones Giest. I'm leading up to her, don't worry. And her big thing outside of making baking related recipes was recreating like foods like Cheetos or Oreos. She remade Ferrero Rochers, Kit Kats, Snickers, like pretty much any candy that we all know, she was able to recreate. And during the pandemic, she wrote right around when the pandemic started, she was writing a cookbook called Dessert Person, which made her incredibly famous. In fact, it made her so famous that she decided to make a YouTube channel called Dessert Person. See, if there's one thing you need to know, because I actually have a Mount Rushmore of YouTube dessert ladies, and Claire Saffitz is one of them. For those of you who are wondering, a Mount Rushmore of YouTube dessert ladies are Claire Saffitz, Rosanna Pansino, Rie, and Inga. There you go. So there you go. You now know who my Mount Rushmore YouTube dessert ladies is. Okay. But there was one episode of Dessert Person in which Claire actually had a guest. That guest was none other than YouTube sensation, actually YouTube Steamy Award breakout creator sensation, Emma Chamberlain. And she's going to be this week's guest on Hot Ones. And that's how, that was my introduction to Emma Chamberlain. She did a collab with Claire Saffitz. That's my introduction to her. And I did do a little bit of research on her because, that's what I do. Full disclosure, were it not for, that episode of Dessert Person I just mentioned, I have no idea who Emma Chamberlain even was. But, as the award I just mentioned suggests, she became, she was like a breakout internet star. She came out with sort of a unique approach to vlogging. And, she starts the podcast series, Anything Goes. And she's been both an ambassador for Louis Vuitton and Cartier. So this is actually one of those instances where, imagine you have somebody like me, and like you just become like a huge breakout star, and you're like as famous as that. And imagine you see me become famous. In a way, that's kind of like what happened with her. I say in a way because clearly she did it better than I did. But I really think this is going to be an interesting episode of Hot Ones, because I really get the feeling, because here's the thing, Emma Chamberlain's, she's a baby. She's only like 21 years old, which, yeah, I know that she's technically a legal adult who's able to drink alcohol and stuff. But when you think about it, because I'm 32, like, I was around for a good 10 years before she was born. And, it just amazes me how just innovative this new wave of younger people, even though, here's the thing, I know according to one of my favorite comedians, Eliza Schlesinger, I technically fall under the millennial category. I hate calling myself a millennial. I do. Because I swear, sometimes millennials do the stupidest stuff ever. So, I don't call myself a millennial, even though that technically is my age range. Because, like, according to Eliza, her definition of when the millennial age range starts is like late 1982, early 1983, and she was born in 1983, so there you go. Anyway, my point is, it's just really astounding how with each new generation, and trust me, each new generation comes with some really stupid nonsense, I assure you. But for every stupid thing they do, they come out with something pretty smart and unique and fun. And that's actually what Emma Chamberlain wound up doing. Although it kind of, begs the question, it's a little give and take. Because, yes, with each new generation, something new, something exciting is going to come out that's going to revolutionize, perhaps, or at least, entertain the masses for a good long while. But one of the major worries that no one ever really talks about is how we really start taking a lot of the more simpler things for granted. Like, it used to be that when they invented the cell phone, it was for the sake of being able to call someone no matter where you are. And now, we turn cell phones into essentially miniature computers that are able to do many, many things. I mean, I know I'm using my cell phone right now to record this. And I'm worried that as time goes on, like the most cutting edge technology, like the greatest things like in the world, we're going to wind up taking them for granted. Hopefully, starting with at least my generation going forward, we, sort of, for lack of a better analogy, remove our heads from our proverbial rectal areas and, sort of change that way of thinking. And from what I've seen Emma Chamberlain do, it looks as if it's starting to go in that direction. But again, but really she's only one person. This has got to be like a collaborative effort. By collaborative effort, I mean like everybody all over the world has to take part in, that sort of changing the way of thinking. Which is possible. It just, takes a lot of work and stuff. But I really am interested in seeing how this episode is going to go. Because again, this is, by all accounts, a, YouTube star. Like, she is, for lack of a better word, one of the people. All the YouTube content creators, really technically, I mean, again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. After David Blaine, really anything goes. See what I did there because of Emma Chamberlain's podcast? Really anything goes when it comes to who's a guest on Hot Ones. So the fact you have Emma Chamberlain, doesn't necessarily surprise me anymore. I mean, then again, when it comes to guests on Hot Ones, a good majority of the people I've always wanted to see have been on at some point. You know, people like Andrew Zimmern, Alton Brown, Adam Richmond, Terry Crews, you know, you name it. I mean, even people I didn't even know I wanted to see on Hot Ones have been on Hot Ones, like David Grohl or Noah Bennett. Or I got his name wrong again, didn't I? Crap. Okay, the point is, like, Hot Ones has been pretty good when it comes to who's been guests on Hot Ones, from the likes of, say, you know, Will Ferrell to John Mayer, or Weird Al, which reminds me, Weird Al's movie's coming out this weekend. I want to see it so bad. Oh, really? It's the movie about Weird Al, starring Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al, which Daniel Radcliffe I can already tell you Daniel Radcliffe is going to kill it as Weird Al. I'm actually kind of surprised that, you know, he's not on Hot Ones again for promoting Weird Al. Or better yet, Daniel Radcliffe and Weird Al on Hot Ones. That'd be cool. Because they both been on Hot Ones before. And they both, like, help each other out. That'd be really sweet. I don't know. That'd be a good idea. But regardless, I'm really looking forward to this episode of Hot Ones. I really am. Because, you know, as famous as Emma Chamberlain is, you know, even she understands that where she came from was, you know, essentially doing stuff like what I'm doing right now on YouTube myself. And, you know, in the words of Uncle Harold from Bon Appetit, you know, if you forget where you come from, you wind up being a fucking asshole. Pardon the language. So, I'm interested in seeing how this is going to go. You know, this should be an episode made for the people, you know, fellow YouTube creators, by the people, also fellow YouTube creators. So there you go. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe button, follow me on social platforms, YouTube. I'm very humble in this video for, oh, right, I almost forgot. The Browns won, but that's okay. I'm 11-4, and now my record is 66, 56, and 1. That's my record for NFL picks getting right or wrong this year. There you go. So, again, I hope you liked this video. If you did, you know, like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. You know, as always, I am very humble in this video for all the guys who watch and enjoy for today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And happy All Saints Day, everyone. And remember, you guys want to talk channel, we'll be here to lend these right back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.